So the definition of domestic violence is a pattern of behaviors used by one partner to maintain power and control over another partner in an intimate relationship.
1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men report having been victims of severe physical violence by an intimate partner. And then lastly, 32% of women sought help at a hospital or emergency room, inpatient units for injuries specifically related to domestic violence and abuse.
That 30 to 60% of perpetrators of partner abuse also abuse the children in the household. As we begin this topic, one of the things that we wanted to notate was that this is a topic that encompasses quite a bit of information.
Yes.
And so we really will only be able to get into some of the bigger highlights, if you will.
Let's get into types of domestic violence.
But let's start with physical and emotional.
The physical aspect of it is literally that: pulling hair, choking, stomping. The emotional part sometimes can go a little bit undetected. That's the name calling, monitoring your partner's whereabouts, isolation from family and friends, no longer contacting family and friends because your partner is expressing an issue with that.
With those people, demanding to know where you are every minute. That's another emotional aspect of it.
Yeah.
Abandoning you in unfamiliar places. So
Yes.
leaving you stranded in unfamiliar places. Driving recklessly or dangerously when you're in the car with them as well.
I've been told that, oh, you know, he was just upset, but
Right.
telling you to shut the bleep up
Right.
or get the F out of my face
calling you out
and
your name.
calling you out your
Right.
name and all that stuff. There are a lot of women, because I was one of them back in the day, who stayed in relationships like this, where
Right.
we allow people to talk to us like that.
that
Can we
way.
talk just very quickly about that? Oh, it's okay, he's just upset.
Right. No, it is absolutely not okay. It is a form of intimidation. It is a form of power and control over you. So no, absolutely not. It's not healthy, and it is not acceptable under any circumstance.
Thank you.
You know, sometimes I think that as the individual being abused sometimes feels as though, because of whatever it may have been, because of how they were raised and grown up,
Right.
who they did or did not have growing up, or what they're seeking in a relationship now to feel, sometimes individuals I've heard say, well, that's just how he shows me he loves me. That's how he shows me he cares and protects me. Care, love, and protection should never hurt.
Never.
And so it should never make you feel less than, you know, the queen or king that you are. And again, I always say, because y'all know I deal with teens as well, this is not just an adult topic. We have our teenagers who are in relationships that
Right.
will speak to everything that we discussed today. So even as parents, be careful, be mindful, be watchful over the teenagers that you have and the relationships that they're in.
Absolutely. And
yeah.
eventually, you know, with that comes, it knocks away at your self-esteem.
Yeah.
Yes.
And eventually over time, you start to believe those things and your behavior falls in line with that. No, don't let anyone rob you of your self-esteem.
That's what I experienced too. He made me feel so low intentionally that it's like no one would ever want you.
No one would
Right.
No one would ever. And that is part of that, like you said, intimidation, that control, that manipulation.
Yes.
So
Yes.
ladies, it's not
It's
okay.
not okay.
That's
It's
not
never
love.
okay.
It's not love. I don't
Never
care how
okay.
long y'all been together.
Yeah.
I don't care if you have children with him. It's
Right.
not okay.
Right. And a lot of times you may hear your partner say, you made me angry, so I said those things because you made me angry. Let me make it very clear. It is never your fault. Anger is a choice. So if he chooses to be angry, he can express that in a more appropriate, he or she can express that in a more appropriate way.
Can we throw out a little bit of
Sure.
additional types of domestic violence? So
Yes.
you have sexual abuse and coercion.
Yes. And
Okay.
that's the demanding of sex,
Right.
insulting in sexual ways.
Right.
Again, out there, I've seen comments and stuff that if you're married and that's your husband,
you should
have
give
to
it up
give it up
when
no
you-
matter.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So is it possible that this is a sign of?
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
Your body is your body. If you are ill, if you are tired, if you just are not in the mood, so respect and equal relationship, a relationship that is
Right.
fostered on equality,
Yes.
would respect that and acknowledge that and
Right.
say, okay, baby, you know it's good.
Yep.
Right.
But someone who is exhibiting signs of domestic violence, that most definitely falls into that category.
Right.
So pressuring you even after you've said no, forcing you to wear certain things that
Right.
they deem sexy or
Right.
attractive. Also, like, not using protection.
Right.
So even in the event that you're married and like, say for instance, you have not made a unified decision to have children, that in itself, and so I'm going to, or the individual is going to demand that you don't take birth control, withhold
Right.
your ability to get birth control, and
Yes.
or not utilize protection while they have intercourse, or at times pulling out is what is done, and so they may not choose to do that either.
Right.
Those are all under the category of sexual coercion.
Right. Monitoring menstrual cycles
Yep.
is also another thing.
Mhm.
So it's just
Wow.
that
Wow.
that use of control.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. The others are financial and digital.
So financial is definitely like denying access to bank accounts, demanding all of your passwords to your bank accounts. You know, those are things that can be considered questionable in relationships.
Giving you an allowance.
Giving you an allowance and not allowing you
Wow.
to go into your own bank account.
Wow.
Digital is more forbidding use of social media, watching who your friends are, or saying that you can't have friends on social media.
Wow.
I think once again, stealing or demanding your password for your social media accounts. Be very careful about that.
So it's really using texting and other social networking to bully, harass, stalk, or intimidate a partner. Often this behavior is a form of verbal or emotional abuse perpetrated online. Again, the hotline.org, I mean, it really, if you have questions, it goes into such depth
Yes.
of explanation and information. If they put you down in their status updates, right? If they send you unwanted, explicit
Jeez.
pictures and demands that you send them in return,
Right.
that's another form. Constantly text you and makes you feel like you can't be separated from your phone for fear that you will be punished.
Yeah.
So if I text you, you better answer. It took you 5 minutes.
Took
What
you
were
too
you
long.
doing?
Took you too long.
Yeah. Looks through your
Wow.
phones, looks through your pictures, read your text messages,
Right.
questions what you're sending.
Standing around when you're on phone calls just to
Yeah.
overhear and to listen
Yep.
about what you're talking about, not being able to leave the room when you take a phone call. Those are things that you really have to be mindful of.
Yeah. If you are afraid your internet usage might be monitored, call the national hotline
Yes.
and they give
Wow.
you the number.
Right. And just so you know, the number is 1-800-799-7233.
I'm just listening to all this, and I'm just like, wow. And I was once that woman or that girl, and it's just very important, like you said, to get help, or
Right.
don't ever feel like you're so stuck that you can't get out,
can't
because
get out.
there's always help. So
Yeah.
I remember her,
Yes.
and
Yes.
I don't want to get, it's just.
Thankfully
It's
and
just very
prayerfully,
sad.
you were able to get out. Thankfully and prayerfully. Absolutely.
Yep. And I just want to share some really quick too, is please don't ever let anyone tell you that, oh, it's okay because he loves you, or he just needs to grow up.
When someone shows you who they are,
Believe
them. And that is an important thing to remember.
Right.
Oftentimes, an abuser will make you feel like there is no way out.
Right.
That is purposeful. Remember that is purposeful.
Right.
And so you have to pull on whatever's inside you telling you that something is not okay, and listen to that inkling. There's someone and or somewhere, even if you don't have family or friends, there's somewhere else that you can turn to.
Absolutely.
And so always try to utilize that, especially if you have children, because remember, they are watching what's happening. And so the trauma is not just happening to you, it's happening to them as well.
Yeah, and domestic violence, it is trauma. It will affect you.
Yep.
It is important that you get help.
Yep.